Picture this. It's Tuesday afternoon. Your 6-year-old spills juice all over the kitchen floor for the third time this week. You're exhausted. You haven't slept properly in days. And without thinking, the words just come out, "Why are you so careless? What's wrong with you?" It feels like frustration, like a moment of overwhelm. But here's what you probably don't realize. Those words you just spoke, they don't just disappear into the air. They become the whispers your child carries into adulthood. They become the voice inside their head when they make a mistake at 25, at 40, at 60. What if I told you that some of the most common phrases parents use every single day, phrases you might have said this morning, are quietly dismantling your child's confidence, their sense of worth, their belief in themselves? In this video, I'm going to reveal 10 everyday phrases that research shows harm children's emotional development. And more importantly, I'll give you powerful, proven alternatives that build resilience, emotional strength, and unshakable self-belief instead. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll never look at your words the same way again. Before we dive in, I need you to do something. Hit that like button, subscribe to Little Nest Guide, and turn on notifications. Because if you're a parent who wants to raise emotionally healthy, confident children who know how to handle life's challenges, this channel is for you. And remember, the goal here isn't perfection, it's awareness. Even one small shift in how you speak can change your child's entire internal landscape. I know you're trying so hard. You read the parenting books. You follow the Instagram accounts. You want to do better than your own parents did. But here's what nobody tells you. Language is one of the most powerful tools we have as parents, and it's also one of the most dangerous when used without awareness. The words we speak to our children don't just communicate information, they shape neural pathways. They form the foundation of self-talk. They determine whether a child grows up believing, "I am capable," or "I am broken." Child development research confirms something that might shock you. Children internalize the way we speak to them. By age 7, those external voices, your voice, become their inner voice. That critical tone you use when they mess up, it becomes the way they criticize themselves. That dismissive response when they're upset, it teaches them their emotions don't matter. And here's the scary part. Most parents have no idea they're doing this. These phrases feel normal. They're what we heard growing up. They're what we see other parents say. But normal doesn't mean harmless. The truth is more complicated than just be nice to your kids. Because some of the most damaging phrases actually sound reasonable in the moment. They sound like discipline, like motivation, like common sense. But when you understand what's really happening in your child's developing brain, everything changes. So let's break down exactly which phrases are causing harm and what to say instead. Imagine this. Your daughter brings home a report card, mostly B's, 1 C. Your son, 2 years older, always gets straight A's. Without thinking, you sigh and say, "Your brother never struggles like this. Why can't you be more like him?" To you, it feels like motivation, like you're giving her a role model. But here's the truth. To her brain, you just said, "You are not enough as you are." Your sibling is the preferred child. You are inadequate. Research in developmental psychology shows that children who are frequently compared to siblings develop what psychologists call comparative identity. Instead of building their own sense of self, they define themselves only in relation to others. This leads to lifelong struggles with self-worth, chronic rivalry, resentment, and a deep fear of not measuring up. What happens long-term? These children often become adults who constantly compare themselves to others, who feel like they're never quite good enough, who sabotage their own success because they've internalized the message that they'll always fall short. Instead, say this: "I can see you worked hard on this. Let's figure out together what support you need to feel more confident. What subject feels trickiest to you right now?" See the difference? You're focusing on their individual journey, not measuring them against someone else. You're affirming effort, opening dialogue, and making them feel seen as their own person. Picture this. Your 5-year-old's ice cream falls off the cone. Instant tears. Big, dramatic sobbing. You're in public, you're embarrassed. So you quickly say, "Stop crying, it's just ice cream. You're being ridiculous." Here's what you probably don't realize. To their developing brain, losing that ice cream genuinely feels like a crisis. Their emotional regulation system isn't fully developed yet. What feels small to you feels enormous to them. When we dismiss or minimize our children's emotions, we teach them something dangerous. We teach them that their feelings are wrong, that emotional expression gets them in trouble, that they need to hide or suppress what they feel. Studies show that children who experience chronic emotional invalidation grow up struggling with emotional regulation, empathy, and authentic relationship building. They learn to distrust their own emotional responses. They become adults who say, "I'm fine," when they're falling apart, who can't identify what they're feeling, who struggle to connect deeply with others. Instead, say this: "I can see you're really sad about your ice cream. It's okay to feel disappointed when something you were enjoying is gone." That's frustrating, isn't it? Let's take a moment together. This doesn't mean you buy another cone every time. It means you validate the emotion before problem solving. You're teaching emotional literacy. You're showing them their feelings matter, that you're a safe person to bring big emotions to. Your 8-year-old is sprawled on the couch, homework undone, room a mess, chores ignored. Frustrated, you snap, "You're so lazy. I don't know what to do with you anymore." Here's what happens neurologically when we label children. Their brain doesn't hear, "Your behavior right now is unacceptable." It hears, "This is who I am fundamentally." Labels become identity. Negative labels don't correct behavior, they reinforce it. Think about it this way. If a child hears, "You're lazy" enough times, they start to believe it's a fixed part of who they are. So when they face challenges, they think, "Well, I'm lazy, so of course I can't do this." The label becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Developmental psychology research confirms that children internalize labels, especially from primary caregivers. Those labels shape their self-concept and predict future behavior patterns. A child labeled lazy often becomes an adult with chronic procrastination, low motivation, and shame around productivity. Instead, say this: "I notice you haven't started your homework yet. Let's make a plan together." What feels hard about getting started? Would you like to tackle the math first or the reading? See what you're doing? You're describing the behavior, not attacking the person. You're offering partnership. You're treating it as a solvable problem, not a character flaw. It's homework time. Your child is stuck on a math problem. They've tried 3 times. They're frustrated, you're impatient. And out it comes. You'll never get this if you keep making the same mistakes over and over. Psychologist Carol Dweck's groundbreaking research on mindset reveals something crucial. When children hear language that suggests ability is fixed, "You'll never," "You're just not good at," "You don't have the brain for," they develop what's called a fixed mindset. They believe intelligence and talent are static. You either have it or you don't. This is devastating for learning. Children with fixed mindsets give up faster, avoid challenges, see effort as pointless, and interpret failure as proof of inadequacy. What's really happening? You're teaching them that struggle means they're broken, that mistakes are evidence of permanent limitation, that there's no point in trying because improvement isn't possible. Instead, say this: "This is tricky right now, and that's totally normal." Making mistakes is actually proof that your brain is learning and building new connections. Let's try a different approach together. What strategy haven't we tried yet? This language builds a growth mindset. It frames struggle as part of the process. It makes effort valuable. It teaches that abilities can be developed. Dinner time. Your 9-year-old asks, "Why do I have to eat vegetables? I don't like them." You're tired. You don't want to explain. So you shut it down. "Because I said so." End of discussion. Here's the thing. "Because I said so" ends the argument. Yes. But it also shuts down curiosity, critical thinking, and understanding. It sends the message that asking questions is annoying, that authority should never be questioned, that understanding why something matters isn't important. Research shows that children raised without explanations often struggle with decision-making, critical thinking, and internalized motivation as adults. They follow rules without understanding them. They don't develop the reasoning skills needed to make good choices independently. Instead, say this: vegetables give your body vitamins and minerals that help your brain think clearly, your muscles grow strong, and your immune system fight off sickness. You don't have to love every vegetable, but let's find a few you can tolerate. Which ones are the least terrible? You're teaching. You're explaining. You're treating their question with respect. You're building understanding and cooperation, not just obedience. Your child cries during a sad movie scene, or gets upset when their friend cancels plans, and you, trying to toughen them up, laugh it off. You're too sensitive. You need thicker skin. Let me be honest with you. When we tell children they're too sensitive, we're essentially telling them there's something wrong with who they are fundamentally. We're shaming them for their emotional wiring. Here's what research shows. Sensitivity is actually linked with higher empathy, creativity, and emotional intelligence. These are children who feel deeply, who notice subtleties, who care intensely. That's not a flaw. That's a gift that needs guidance, not ridicule. When we mock sensitivity, children learn to hide their true selves. They become adults who are disconnected from their emotions, who struggle with authentic vulnerability, who feel fundamentally defective. Instead, say this: you have such a big heart. It's beautiful that you feel things deeply. That's actually a strength, even when it's uncomfortable. Let's talk about what you're feeling. You're reframing, you're validating, you're showing them their sensitivity is valuable, not shameful. Your teenager breaks curfew, or fails a class, or makes a choice you disagree with. And in anger, you say, "I'm so disappointed in you. You're such a disappointment to this family." This phrase doesn't target behavior. It attacks identity. It doesn't say, "I'm disappointed in this choice." It says, "You, as a person, are not enough." Psychologists call this an identity wound. It cuts deep because it suggests the child's very existence is inadequate. The long-term impact is devastating. Chronic shame, perfectionism, fear of vulnerability, and self-hatred that can last decades. Children who repeatedly hear they're a disappointment often become adults with imposter syndrome, who are never satisfied with their achievements, who carry a deep sense of being fundamentally flawed. Instead, say this: I don't like the choice you made, and there will be consequences, but I believe in you. I believe you're capable of making better choices. Let's talk about what happened and what we can learn from this. You're separating behavior from worth. You're maintaining connection while addressing the issue. You're showing unconditional love doesn't mean unconditional approval of all behavior. Your son scrapes his knee, tears well up, and trying to be helpful, you say, "Come on, big boys don't cry, be tough." Here's what this teaches. Boys must suppress emotions. Vulnerability is weakness. Feelings are unacceptable. Girls get similar messages, just different flavors. You're being too emotional. Calm down. Don't be so dramatic. Research shows that emotional suppression, especially when enforced by gender, leads to anxiety, depression, relationship problems, and even physical health issues. Later in life, boys who are taught not to cry often become men who can't express emotion healthily. Girls taught to minimize their feelings become women disconnected from their emotional needs. Instead, say this: ouch, that looks like it hurt. It's totally okay to cry when you're in pain. Let's clean it up together, and I'll stay with you until you feel better. You're teaching that all emotions are acceptable. That pain deserves acknowledgement. That vulnerability is human, not gendered. Why do you always forget your homework? You never listen to me. Why do you always make such a mess? These absolute statements feel true in moments of frustration, but they're cognitively distorted. They exaggerate patterns and create negative self-fulfilling prophecies. When children hear always and never, they start to believe those things are unchangeable truths about themselves. I'm the kid who always forgets. I'm the kid who never listens. It becomes part of their identity. Instead, say this: I've noticed you've forgotten your homework 3 times this week. That's unusual for you. What's going on? Do you need help creating a system to remember? You're being specific. You're treating it as a solvable problem, not a permanent character trait. You're opening space for change. Your child comes home upset about something that happened at school. A friend excluded them. A teacher criticized them. And you, wanting to help them move on, say, "You're fine. Just get over it. It's not that serious." This phrase communicates something dangerous. Your pain doesn't matter. Your emotional experience is invalid. Toughen up and deal with it alone. Children need co-regulation to develop healthy emotional regulation. When we rush them to get over it, we rob them of the processing time they need. We teach them to bypass emotions instead of moving through them. Instead, say this: "That sounds really hard. Tell me more about what happened. How did that make you feel? I'm here to listen." You're offering presence. You're validating without solving. You're teaching them that emotions deserve space and attention. Here's what you need to remember. The way we talk to our children becomes their inner voice. Every phrase you speak today is programming the voice they'll hear in their head for decades to come. You don't have to be perfect. You're going to slip up. You're going to say the wrong thing. We all do. But intention matters. Awareness matters. Repair matters. When you catch yourself using harmful language, you can pause. You can repair. You can say, "I didn't like how I just spoke to you. Let me try again." That models something crucial. Mistakes don't define us. Growth is possible. Connection can be repaired. Now I want to hear from you. Out of these 10 phrases, which one hit home the most? Which one did you hear growing up? Which one have you caught yourself saying? And here's the real question: which one are you committed to changing starting today? Drop your answer in the comments, because your story might be exactly what another exhausted parent needs to hear to know they're not alone in this journey. So here's what you've just discovered. The words we use either build bridges or walls between us and our children. They either strengthen self-belief or tear it down. They either teach resilience or instill shame. But this isn't about guilt. This is about power. Now you know what language harms and what language heals. You can't unknow it, which means you get to choose differently starting right now. Every conversation is a chance to shape your child's inner voice, to teach them they're capable, worthy, and loved unconditionally, to show them that mistakes are part of learning, that emotions are valid, that they are enough exactly as they are. That's the greatest gift you can give. Not perfection, not a life without struggle, but a voice inside their head that says, "I can handle this, I am worthy, I am loved." If this video helped you, even with just one insight, I need you to do something, like this video right now. Subscribe to Little Nest Guide, hit that notification bell, and share this with another parent who's trying their best and could use this information. Drop a comment below about which phrase you're committing to change. I read every single comment, and your experience matters. Remember, this video is for educational purposes only and does not replace advice from a qualified pediatrician or child psychologist. If you have concerns about your child's emotional development, please consult a professional. You're not just raising children, you're raising the adults they'll become. And every word you speak is shaping that future. You've got this. I believe in you. And your children are so lucky to have a parent who cares enough to learn and grow. See you in the next video.